everyone, it's Adrian Leah. This will be a quick video talking about sourdough bread and sewing. I have a lot of coursework to do. I was able to see the next section on Monday. It's Tuesday morning now because it's past midnight. Um, Otherwise, I would have done work over the summer break, but I mainly studied the next two drug sections because I have the sheet for that and I have them. So, um, the next time, well, after I take the quiz for the upcoming um, drugs that will be quizzed on. Sorry, I said that in a weird way. I'll still study the section that I'm learning and then add on the other section because we have more reading to do um, because it's preparing us, well, the whole course is preparing for the national exam, but now there is an official reading section that we have to go through um, to add to our reading. So my godmother is in town. She's leaving today, but I got summoned to dinner. So I went there um, and I tried to eat what I could. It was a buffet. It was technically the buffet that um, my parents and I and my godbrother went to um, the last, well, for Father's Day, and it was like a family group dinner. So um, my godbrother was there too, and the Medivac was a hit because both times, my godmother, the first time, she left me a message, a voicemail on my phone, and she was talking about that it was delicious. Then she talked to me on the phone when I called her back, and then she was saying how delicious it was. And then I was at dinner, and my godbrother was talking about it too, um, how he really liked it. And he was asking um, if I could make some desserts sometimes when uh, like he would have to, well, if he had like guests over or something. So I would just drop it off. But he was saying that he really tasted the honey. And so it was really exciting. I did wear this today in the bag. I wore this tank top and I wore my skirt that I got off of a Portuguese Etsy seller's shop. It's the one that like tapers. And it's like one of my, I call it like a gypsy skirt. I don't know. But it's super like voluminous. It's like as I said, it's short in the front and then it's like a train. It gets longer in the back. And when I was leaving the restaurant, because I said I had a lot of work to do, I sent in my first assignment. It's a discussion post that's kind of like a report at this time because I write a lot. Because you're technically, you only need to write the minimum of 5 to 10 sentences, but I write until I feel like I get it out of my system. Like I feel like I wrote what finishes the prompt. But anyway, so I was leaving, and the waitress said that, well, she's like, "You're so cute," like in you know, not like in that way, but like adorable, and like, oh, thank you. It's the baby face. So, um, and I think because my outfit, but this helps it be a little less warm for me. A little, it's still warm, but summer, I think, well, it's August, and then I don't know about this area, but it'll probably just cool down starting October, I'm assuming. So, um, I do have sewing things to show. I was gonna show it in the last video, but I didn't. Um, because it was on the floor next to me, and I like touched it with my foot, and I'm like, oh, I forgot to say it. The video is already long already, and but it didn't take as long as the last couple of videos. I don't know why the last couple of videos before the last one took so long, because the last video only took a couple minutes and it was finished, so I'm hoping that's the same with this one. But I'll start with, well, I have the bag here. This is where I put a lot of the sewing stuff. So it's next to me so I don't forget. I got a kitchen scale, and this is the box. It came in the other day, but I prepped my sourdough and everything. I actually have some of my sourdough to show. Sorry. Because I put some of it in the fridge and then I put the rest in the bag. So, because I noticed like when it's in a plastic bag, it gets kind of moist. You don't really get that with like mass-produced store-bought bread, which makes sense that it's more, or maybe a little more dehydrated. But I mean, I ate it for a long time, and then I wanted to really make my own bread. So I, sorry, really love this scale. Um, I love the basic scales that have the units and then the on off button, and then you have like the tare. So I um, used it for the last time I made bread, and I was a little conflicted on whether or not I wanted to get a scale, but I feel like maybe I could start off with the scale and then do more of like either the other measurements or even eyeing it in the future, because I think about like if you live in a village setting or like a rural setting somewhere, I'm sure they could get the resources one way or the other, but it where maybe they choose not to use these things, or um, they already know how to do it, like maybe it was like passed down to make these recipes, and that's kind of how I wanted to do it because that's the way that I usually cook anyway, because um, that's how my mom cooks, and that's how my grandparents cook. because my grandparents were cooks too. Um, Not like fancy or anything, but it, I mean, it tasted amazing when like the food is homemade, that type of cooking. So, I have the scale, and I've used a lot of scales, mainly with compounding, like at when I would like work in the pharmacy and I would compound. But and then I have some scales that we work with scales too in class sometimes when we're doing lab work. So it's not like I haven't seen scales before, but this looks that when I first got it, I was like, this looks more fancier than what I was thinking. So I'm happy that it ended up being um like this because I tried to get one that was on the more affordable side and it was half off and I saw it on the YouTuber's Amazon storefront. So she uses this one. And I have the bag here. I was kind of reluctant to put the bread in this bag after a while because I actually wanted to use it as a project bag. But then the bread was just getting like really moist in the bag that I had it in. So I took it out and I put it in here. And it's doing better in here. So I have a little like because I ate some. Oh my God, I don't want to get crumbs, but I ate some to try it, and like again, I put some of it in the fridge. So let me just I guess get this piece off. Well, let me because they do like the soft, like the squishy test in the on the YouTube videos. So I don't know. So it has definitely the squish and the elasticity in it. Um, the next thing that I'm thinking about is a little more of the crispiness, because again, when they do like that, like they squeeze it, um, it you hear like that, like the crunch, and I do like that too. It might be because I still put the water underneath even though I'm not openly baking it because it helps like with the bottom to not get burned. So this is what the bottom is. And um, I I do like how soft it is. Like that's the type of texture. Um, I do like when I was openly baking, it did have more of a crunch to it. But I am adjusting the measurements gradually because it is different with the scale. Was I was using it as I was saying, and it was definitely one of those things where if you don't like individually know the weights for the for each ingredient, then if you're trying to give measurements, it wouldn't compute correctly. Because if you give like general measurements, again, it's just you're not accounting for what they are, as I keep repeating. But be- I was like weighing at the water, and when it came to the flour, it was significantly less flour than if I were to put just like the cup measurements that I was given. And I'm not saying like they were bad measurements. Like I was able to work with those measurements. but I really had to like pay attention and adjust because the ratio just seemed so it was so floury. I because I added like less flour when I was weighing it with the scale, and that's what they usually say um to get more accurate results if you like when you weigh it with the scale or know the individual weight for each ingredient and then do your math with that. And the same thing with this, well, differently with the salt, that actually the opposite. It was a lot more salt than when I was doing it with the um the cups to measure with. So I think I'm gonna adjust the salt, and I think I might keep working with the amount of water with the amount of flour for now, and I want to see if I could do um what is it, like the cold, it is the cold proofing sourdough. So it's a more controlled sourdough in terms of like the shape and the way that it rises. But I'm thinking it might be nice because I do it within a day, and I'm happy that my sourdough does rise. Um, I might be like maybe the more that I work with it, I could definitely work on how I'm shaping it and working with the dough when it has that much hydration in it. It doesn't have too much hydration. Well, it's not like the highest hydration that I've ever had, but um, I feel like when I've done the sourdough in the past and I wasn't using a scale, I was able to shape it more. But I feel like with time, you'd be able to adjust the way that you were, were when you like are working with the dough instead of it like kind of like um losing shape. So I kind of just like quickly put it together and then put it in the preheated Dutch oven because I put it in the oven to heat up beforehand, take it out, and then put the bread in and then put it back in the oven so it's already hot. And I can test it like once a week because that's when the bread will run out. So I'll have to see the different things that I'll do. So I think the next time I'm going to try cold proofing to see if I like that better. But I am happy with this one. Um, and one time, the last time I tried, because there's like the ice cube method too. It was nice, and I did really like the consistency of the dough, but I didn't feel like I needed that. So I omitted it from the process the last time I did that. I just stuck with the um, water at the bottom. So there might be a time when I would get the it goes underneath your bread when you're baking it. It is there's a lot of them on Etsy, but I had to what's the name? Sourdough plate. It's like a plate that goes underneath the the bread so it doesn't burn. So it's no, it's not that. Oh, it's ceramic warming stone. So you could, is it a ceramic warming? Well, if it's not the name, it's basically something that goes underneath the bread when you're baking it so it doesn't burn your, so you don't burn your bread when you're doing it. It also depends on your environment and your oven. But I have all the supplies that I need to make bread anyway. So I'm happy and I've been eating it for sure. For sewing, I'll get to in just a second. I got this because I ran out of one of mm, the baking sheets, and this one's a super super sturdy one. Like I like kind of sawed this, like I put it at the side of the table, and then I was cutting it with one of the sharpest knives. Hopefully the knife is okay, but I was thinking maybe I can use this for like the head of the matanka, but I'm not sure if I want to do the long one or the shorter one. I'll see, because I kind of wanted to make it a little more like an animal, but still faceless. So, going in my crafty bag, I did some squares. It really does bring out the colors for the patchwork skirt. I think I have like 9 more patch squares to go, but at some point I'll like pick up a fabric here and there, most likely at the thrift store because they're $1 for a lot of the pillowcases. I do have some fabric here. They're like, they don't really fit what I was going for. I know that one of the sewers, Carly B, she was saying that when she's doing patchwork, she likes to see if the fabrics can become friends, and she goes off the vibe. And I was like, yes, that's exactly what it is. And so, like, once I added a couple of these, I didn't add too many of them because it's such a bold one. Like the other colors that are bold too, they're able to go in there, and I only have a little bit of the blue and yellow of these, so I was able to get 2 of each, and I still have to iron them. But now they're able to be in the skirt. Not like, I guess they weren't, but before adding the bright color, it was kind of giving soft cottagecore vibes, which is cool. I do enjoy that too. But I wanted to see, well, I needed to add more squares to get to the size that I'm going for, because I'm gonna do double my measurement, and then it's gonna gather at the waist because I'm gonna have an elastic in. So it's gonna be a lot of scrap or like just fabric, and um I do have like fabric, um but as for like different different types of ones, I don't have like large quantities because I'm making them into large squares. So it'll be an adventure with this one. Um, I don't know if my godmother's gonna call me today to do something because she was thinking about it. And I'm like, oh, I have so much homework. But I'll go if she is asking to for me to go somewhere because she's leaving today. So really happy I tried out the half square triangles and I did this square. So technically I have this one because you could do a train of them and do a bunch of them at once. But I tried doing them and I didn't clean the edges yet, but this is what it is. I used a 3x3 because I felt like this would be nice to use for like a bag, and I'll use the 2x2s for like a smaller project, like if I'm gonna make a case of something. So I'll hold on to this for sure. Um, so I, because these are making two at a time, because you're taking both, and if you're a sewer, you're like, duh. But the way that this method is that you do front to front for the fabric, and you see where your center is here. You're not going to sew the center. You're going to sew along each side of the center, and then when you're finished sewing each side, then you'll cut it the center, and then you'll open it, and then from there you iron it, and that'll be your half square triangles. And I'm really excited for this because I have a lot of homework. I think I might like do some here and there. I'm not going to do it all at once, but I feel like for the week that I had off, I was able to do a couple of projects here and there. Now, well, I did majority of the patchwork for the skirt. Now I'm like just gonna get it when well, getting it done when I get it done, I guess. So today I also am gonna pick up a mason jar from the store because I don't have any more mason jars that I could use, because I'm gonna take some of my starter and feed it, and then give it to the sense weird. I'm gonna give it to one of my classmates because she really loves bread and she wants to make bread. So at least if I give her some of my starter, she doesn't have to go through like the whole process of making it like alive in a way. So mm, like it's really hard to have your starter unusable. Like it'd have to have like mold in it, but other than that, like if you feel like your starter is like taking a while to wake up, just don't give up, because it just needs some time. They're so funny because there's this post, and it was like a motivational post, and it was this like motivational video in a way. And then it was like, I'm not fat, I'm just a few meals ahead and a couple shits behind. And I just thought it was funny. So, it was like a joke. It wasn't. So, I have this bag. Whose bag is this? It's my mom's. It was in the garage. She's had it there for since I've been here, and she doesn't touch it. It's near the trash bags. And I just felt like I wanted to organize my supplies. So this has my sewing supplies in it now. And I feel like it's fitting because it's like the quilted type of bag. Um, and I noticed that with hand quilts, they feel a lot softer than like store-bought quilts because growing up, I didn't really like the feeling of quilts. There's this specific like blanket that my brother had on his bed. It wasn't just his, like we had a closet that had like blankets and pillowcases and stuff, but primarily it was like with his stuff because it was more of like a neutral bed sheet instead of maybe like a pink one that my mom would put on my bed or something. So, I just never really liked that feeling of blanket. So I kind of like shied away, but I felt some blankets or like quilts at the quilt shop, and I actually think they're pretty soft. So it's been fun doing the different things, and I'm happy that like I'm able to do well work on this, especially when it's hotter out, even though I do have some yarn that I can work with. The project that I just cast it on, it is a little warm for that one. So I kind of pick it up, put it down, pick it up. But it's a nice startup to like at least have. And then the Ukrainian yarn, um, it's a lot like easier to use. So those are the sewing projects. Um, because it's using like a Aran weight, it's on the thicker side, and the way that the yarn is really comfy. I would say it's like kind of pudgy. It's a mass-produced yarn, but it is like one of their few 100% wool ones that they have. So I got it, and that'll just be like a lot of stockinette before actually getting to the yoke because it's bottom up, and I'm gonna do the sleeves first. So it's gonna take a while to actually get to that point. And am I the biggest fan of stockinette? Not particularly, but for something that is just like pick up, put down, pick up, it's not so bad. And I'm not saying that like it's a bad thing for stockinette. It's nice because like especially when you have a lot of details on your yoke and maybe you just want the rest to go with it and have the color work shine. So I just have like I guess there's a lot of red in here. There's the tin here. I have my Matryoshka, um, the tin that has the smaller spools in there. I do have small spools in here, but it has like the extra supplies. Um, and this is like from when I dropped my sewing machine off to the it was a sewing machine and vacuum repair. They tend to have that combination. And then this is like directions that went with it. That honestly, like if I didn't read these directions, me like just chucking my directions, thinking I don't need them. I get along in life a lot of times without them, but this one I needed because like I was trying to find out why I couldn't just get it to thread or like get the sewing machine to work because I have a sewing machine. It's a modern one, and there's different sewing machines out there. So they say like they work the same, and in a sense, yes, but I don't know. Sometimes like there's specific details to account for like this specific thing for with this machine. Since I haven't had that many machines to thread growing up, I realized that it's a big difference between threading it right to left or left to right, and it depends on your machine. And so my machine was doing like the right to left, and then online I was looking at videos, and their machines went left to right, so I was kind of like um, just figuring out a bunch of ways that I could thread it, and it eventually did. And now I am threading, or I won't thread, yeah, but I'm sewing more. So there's my buttons are in here too. I really need to like use my buttons. Actually, I think I could. Now I have other buttons for my cardigan that I was gonna use, but I have these honeycomb ones. A lot of these buttons are from like the sale section. So, I mean, these are the ones I wanted to use for my cardigan. They're like shells. I am thinking because like I don't want it to break so easily, so I kind of, well, I do like these too, but I found that when I went to the, oh, let's see, another paper for yarn, I noticed that like, when I went to the fabric store, or like the quilt shops, that their buttons were a lot cheaper to get than when I would get them like at a box store for I don't know why. Um, and their buttons are really nice, so I got a bunch of them for my um calicore cardigan, the really like the chunky one, the winter one that I really wanted to finish, but it just got too warm for it by the time I like got here. So I'm hoping I can pick that up at some point again. But these are just like a lot of buttons, and then there's like some spools in here, but this one is for top stitching. I don't have the needle for it, so don't. So that mean I have like so many blues, and well, that's another blue. There's a purple, and there's like top stitching ones. So I mean, at some point, it's me being sentimental because this came with my sewing machine, one of my sewing machines. This came with the first one. Well, not the first one that I got, but the first antique sewing machine that I got. And it's like sewing through multiple different types of fabric. So there's more in here, but it's generally what it is. And then some like quilting pins, and I felt like maybe that was meant to be because I got it and it was on sale, and it was like the only one there. One time when I was looking at the sewing machine, well, the sewing section. Then I have this bag. Oh, I have the sewing machine oil, and I need to oil up my scissors at some point. But I end up using, maybe I'll oil it like soon actually, because I'm not like using it so much right now because I've been using the rotary cutter, which is so fun to use. At some point I might get the larger mat, getting it in person, I'm sure they're great quality. I'm not like saying like it's not worth the price, but they're just so expensive. And online, there's the self healing mats, and they're like there's one that's I saw that it was listed for less than $10. It was like $8. So at some point, I would like to get that. Um, I'm almost done with all the larger squares for the skirt, but I am like constantly moving around the self healing mat that I have that um, I think is only like 8 inches, and the squares are larger than that. So I just like kind of had to like work around it, but I'm almost done with it, so I'm not sure. Maybe I'll get the mat um, sooner rather than later. It could be a possibility, but um, yeah, I've been gradually getting the sewing things and seeing what I would like, and I still want to get the walking foot that you could um, sew more layers of fabric with, and it's not gonna like bunch up, or it's not gonna like not bubble, but it's not as consistent sometimes when you're sewing multiple layers and your sewing machine's like really fighting for its life to like sew it. So, um, that's because I have my other machine that can sew through a lot of the thicker fabrics, but the featherweight, I can sew some things, but after a while, I it's a lot sooner that I'm not able to get through as many layers as I can on my other sewing machine. But since I have my other sewing machine, I've been really slow at getting like the walking foot. It's been like a couple months and I still haven't gotten it because I'm like, well, if my other sewing machine could do it, sometimes just barely, but I can do it. So sorry. Um, I'll just sew it there and it's fine. And I was also thinking about maybe setting up my mom's sewing machine downstairs because it is downstairs, and sometimes I do want to sew when I'm there, but I don't want to like carry my stuff down. So um, I could do that too. But I really wanted to use this bag. It used to have my, sorry, I keep saying sewing machine. It had my Modern Brother ones, the brand Brother, and I don't have anything against the sewing machine. Um, it's it's on the louder side, but it's not like I didn't expect it to be. But didn't expect the older ones to be so like classic sounding in a way. Like they're so um quiet, and when they do make sound, it's like it just sounds historical. Like it sounds um really nice to when like to the ears. So it's just one of those things for me. But in here, I just have I'm not going to take them out completely, but I have the reprinted manual of the Singer Portable Electric Sewing Machine 221-1. So this is the featherweight. I got this with the with my featherweight, and it came with a lot of different things. Like it came with a box of the different feet that you could use. I still haven't identified all of them, but I know some of them, barely some of them. And I also have my other sewing machines parts in here too that I got with the that I got with it. So I put the oil in the tin just in case it leaks. So I'm hoping that's a little more protection. It's gonna mess up the stuff in there, but it hasn't leaked and it came from another country, so I feel like it's okay for now. And it's already packaged. So I do have my sewing stuff in here, and it might be a little bit till I sew more clothing. Well, I am making the skirt, but I like how um it's like directions, but it's also directionless. Like it's like oh, the one of the sewers was like choose your own adventure, or she sews seams, and because you kind of just like get to customize or do, well, you do customize your project, but you're um you kind of like do it to your whatever, even more customization. um and I like the guidance of the directions, but I think like maybe over time I'll start using more directions, or at least get an idea and use some parts of the pattern, which I tend to do, and then um, do whatever with what I want with the rest of it. So the bag fits like all of these things, and it just feels like it is something that I could keep the stuff in, hopefully. So that was the video. Hopefully I didn't. Oh, I did make Posca, which I did make a. I have some clips of it. I forgot that I was filming during the. Oh, I was filming during the day. I knew that, but I forgot that I didn't have as many lights on in the kitchen. So I have like some of it was really strange lighting, but I have some footage of it. I might at some point, because it might be a while for me to make it again, but I might get the panettone molds, like the cups, to put them in, because that's what was recommended for the recipe. Because I made three of them. I made like two mini ones and one large one, and I feel like I should have put the larger one into a smaller container, because it took like over twice the time to bake than the time it was saying for the recipe. And in the meantime, I kind of just filmed myself. Well, I didn't film myself, but that sounds weird. But I didn't. I filmed like the last parts when I had like the mini um Posca, and I wanted to make three because there's like the cultural significance and spiritual or religious significance for the Posca. Um, so and like I split the recipe. So technically it was gonna make three full ones, but I made, as I said, the one large one and two mini ones. So it took a while for the large one, but at least I have some footage of it. And I'm gonna add more. I feel like I need to, well, to make sure the song plays through, because I added a song for it to be complete. So it might take a little bit because I have more work, and I'm not upset about it because I don't mind learning, but there's definitely more to do, and I would have wanted to do it during my break because I didn't have a lot to do during my break, so I made myself busy. But it was relaxing in a way anyway. So thank you guys so much for watching. The video was longer as usual. I'll see you in another video. Bye. Oh, sorry. I did eat the Posca. So I ate one of the mini ones, and I ate some of the large one today. So it's not like it's not getting eaten. So, um, I definitely want to make it again and see if I could, um, make it cook more efficiently. So if the dough was kind of like the, keep, yep, keep it. I love that dough, and this one had a softness to it. It has a softness to it that I love. So, I just love soft bread. So, I'm happy with how it tastes, and um, I added the icing to it. I'll show that in another video. So, I'll see you. Um, I keep saying the ending over and over.